Yep. Inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I have never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you, Toadstool Sports. Saturday, 12/13, December 13th. Thanks, everybody who hung out last night. We did the college basketball version of the show last night, so I appreciate all the people who hung out for that. Go check that out. If you missed it, there's still time. You can check out my Instagram. The videos are pretty much up there as well, so you can check that out. We'll reiterate those plays at the end here. College basketball is just huge on Saturdays now, man. There's just a lot going on, so wanted to split it up. I didn't get any sleep, basically, but we're going to split it up, and then this morning we're going to talk NHL. There's a huge NHL board. I only have one play in the NHL, though. And then we got NBA, which is just the NBA Cup semifinals now, which I should have put in the description to make more people watch it. I'll change the description for it. I'm actually going to have one play in those games, and then I'm skipping the college football today. Not enough that I like there, but we'll talk about the games. Mr. Pinsey, thanks for hanging out again. Thanks for coming back. Thanks for telling your friends, man, getting more people involved. Get them all in the chat. Hell yeah. We're going to do like a final market read, maybe, I guess, with the college basketball when we're done here as well. I don't know. We'll see. And then I got to get my bowl mania stuff in order, at least, especially the confidence stuff is really the thing where you have to like look at everything like from the overall perspective and figure out where you want to put each game. You know, the picking individual games against the spread and straight up and whatever is easy, but like the confidence thing is just crazy, and I got to beat my friends, man. I haven't entered any money pools on Splash as far as the bowls. The bowls are just too wild for me, so I'm not doing that. I don't know if I'm going to do anything with the college football playoffs either. NFL maybe, because it's more predictable in a way, but for the NFL playoffs, I mean. But I'm still trying to get in the money on Splash for the NFL pick. You know, you pick 5 every week, sort of like the Vegas Super contests that are out there. So I'm still in the money there right now, and I want to finish landing in the money. Be back tonight, by the way, for the NFL show. I have a strong opinion on most of the games in the NFL this week, so hopefully I picked the right ones to actually make my plays. I think I've narrowed it down to 3, but it's going to get a little bit crazy, man. I feel very strongly about the NFL board this week, so hopefully that means they're going to be good plays. All right, hockey, we have basically a full slate of games here, man. If I could find Saturday, here it is. Almost every team is in action. There are only a few teams who aren't. Anaheim is at New Jersey at 12:30 p.m. Eastern, NHL Network, to kick off the afternoon slate here. Pretty good game to kick it off. Both of these teams are all right. Anaheim, they're coming in 19-11 overall. Good record, man. Although I think they're not as good as their record looks. They did just take a loss to the Islanders. Now, they're still on this road trip. They're staying in the New York, New Jersey area here, but they did lose a 3-game win streak. And sometimes when you lose a win streak, it will hang you over a little bit coming into the next game. They should get up for New Jersey, who is also good. Although New Jersey, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're still without Jack Hughes, their best player. But New Jersey, I mean, they've been on this massive skid. They did get a win in there against Ottawa, but in their last game at home, after they returned from a 2-game road trip, they got obliterated by Tampa Bay 8-4. So I think the spot is better for the Devils here, man. Like when you're staying at home and just coming off a disgusting loss at home. I know Tampa's really good, but you lose by 4 goals. Basically, it's just kind of a rule in hockey that teams that lost by 4 or more goals, more often than not, they play better in the next game. So kind of a simple handicap there, but I think New Jersey is the way to be looking in that game if you're going to play it. The money seems like it agrees, even though New Jersey dropped from -125 to -118. 64% of the tickets are on Anaheim, but 67% of the cash on New Jersey. When it's a complete mismatch between the tickets and the cash like that, and they're on opposite sides, I don't think you usually see those things flip as far as how pregame tracks it. Sometimes maybe, but that game's also coming up in a few hours. So I think the market is kind of settling in on that one. So I think New Jersey is probably the way to look there. Ottawa and Minnesota, as Saab mentioned last night, he is on the Ottawa side here. And I agree with him, but this one is not my one play that I'm going to throw into my card here. Ottawa, as Saab pointed out, they did beat Columbus in their last game to start this road trip, which is, not a win. They're really going to be in a letdown spot afterwards. But they did end a 3-game losing streak, so that's good. So they beat Columbus, good win. Now they get Minnesota. Probably they'll get up for a game against Minnesota because Minnesota has a good record. Now, I don't know if Minnesota is going to be, if they're already going to have Quinn Hughes, I think is the guy they got in their trade. Now, I don't know if they're going to have him already or if he's not going to be there for a couple of games. So that's something to keep in mind because if this is Hughes' first game for them, there might be a thing where they have to they have to adjust their lines, you know what I mean? And guys have to fill the roles again and whatever. So could be a little bit of a chemistry issue in that first game with the new player, if that's going to be this game for Minnesota. Now, I don't know if it is, but I think if it is, it's a little bit of an extra negative for Minnesota in the first game. Now, Minnesota, as Saab already pointed out, they returned home from a road trip, and they did not get caught in the road trip return distraction spot where a lot of times teams have to get back to family life. They don't focus on the game, but they did because their opponent was Dallas. They got the win, huge win beating Dallas, and now they get Ottawa. And tomorrow they do have to face my Boston Bruins, and maybe they will be more focused on the Bruins, man. So that is possible as well. Boring Bets, what's up, man? Thanks for coming back. So Hughes isn't going to play until tomorrow, okay, against the Bruins. So, yeah, I mean, because that's Hughes' first game, they might even be looking ahead to that a little bit more. So I agree with Saab. They might get caught here in this game. It is, at the very least, you could say it's a letdown spot off of beating Dallas. So, yeah, I'll agree with Ottawa. If you're going to play this game, I think they're the right side. The money isn't really agreeing right now. This is at 2 p.m. Or 2:07 p.m. Eastern, by the way. Minnesota down from -116 to -115 on the money line. 67% of tickets, 84% of the cash on Minnesota. So the money somewhat on the Minnesota side right now. Like I said, I agree with Ottawa in that one. Not going to make it a play, though. These games are all on ESPN Plus, by the way. Every NHL game besides that opening game on NHL Network, the rest of them are all on ESPN Plus. Again, ESPN Plus, I keep mentioning I have Disney Plus just because it has ESPN Plus in it, and it's a better deal that way in the bundle, even though screw Disney. But ESPN Plus just gives you so many extra games, man. Even though, of course, you can find streams for all of them, but the quality is just a little bit better when you have it. I use it, so maybe personal preference to some extent, but I do use it. San Jose is at Pittsburgh at 3 p.m. Eastern. San Jose coming off a win at Toronto. Pretty nice win in overtime on Thursday, so maybe a little bit of a letdown coming off of that because Toronto still has that weight behind their name. They have Austin Matthews back now. Pittsburgh does have a good record, though, so they're not really a team that you're going to overlook right now. And I think Pittsburgh is not as good as their record looks, as I keep saying. Pittsburgh, they're on a losing skid right now. They've lost 3 games in a row, including losing twice back at home here. So given all of that, I kind of like the Pittsburgh side here to bounce back, staying at home, trying to get back on the winning side at home here. Pittsburgh looks like they are not the market choice, though. 79% of tickets, only 72% of the cash on Pittsburgh. So they're a public team with less of the money on them. They're actually up from minus 160 to minus 163. So odds makers really disrespecting San Jose because I don't think either of these teams are that good. And the odds makers keep telling you both of these teams are not as good as their records look. I slightly lean to Pittsburgh in the game. The money is disagreeing with me, but there's no way I'm going to touch that one. Jeffrey, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Mark Lawrence likes Army. I don't really agree, but I kind of prefer the total in that game. I'm going to talk about that game when we get to college football. I'll talk about all the college football games. I'm going to talk about every bowl, of course, which I already did, except, by the way, there was one bowl that they just hadn't filled it yet with teams, but they have now. I saw what the matchup was, and I can't remember what it is now, but we're going to talk about every bowl as it happens anyway, so... All right, Tampa Bay at the Islanders. My first instinct on this is that you want to start looking towards Tampa here because they did just lose for us on the show, by the way. This was one of our losers on last Saturday. They lost at home to the Islanders 2-0, but there was an empty net goal in that game, and Tampa actually dominated that game, dude. They had like pretty much every statistic in their favor in that game, so it was kind of a BS loss that I'm not that happy about. So now that they did lose at home to the Islanders, they have a quick road reversal revenge angle here, which I do think is a motivating factor. When this team just beat you on your own ice, you want to go back and return the favor. Problem is, Tampa Bay just smoked Montreal and New Jersey by a combined 14-5 score. So the fact that they're coming off these massive wins, I don't know if I could quite get there with it, man. I don't love it after all that. And they do have Florida up next, which is always a big game for Tampa Bay, although I believe Tampa is 1-0 against Florida this year so far. So that was actually playoff revenge, I believe, as well for Tampa, and they already got it. But it's still a big game against Florida nonetheless, so I can't really get there with Tampa in this one, even though I think the revenge angle is a factor here. Islanders are not exactly in a good spot either, as they are coming off wins at home over Vegas in a shootout and beating Anaheim 5-2. Those are nice wins there for the Islanders, although, they're not going to overlook Tampa, though. I mean, Tampa's been really hot. They've been good. Both of these teams have been really hot. Tampa been a little bit less hot because of the injury to Vasilevsky, so that's something to keep in mind. I don't know when he's coming back, so Tampa is without their best goalie right now, which is kind of a problem if you like Tampa here. I'll slightly lean to the Tampa side. I mean, I think the recency bias is kind of on the Islanders. The odds makers are kind of telling you what to think, though, with Tampa still being a road favorite here. Odds makers are telling you Tampa is the significantly better team, enough so that they're favored on the road. They're down from minus 135 to minus 128 on the money line. 71% of the tickets, 96% of the cash on them. So the money seems to be on the Tampa side. I will agree on that one, but an agreement with some reservations for sure. Mark Lawrence, free plays, Baltimore and the Chiefs. I agree with both of those. Okay, Edmonton and Toronto. Edmonton's coming off a nice win over Detroit, man. And now we know Edmonton, even though they won that game 4-1 with Skinner in net, Edmonton said, whatever, see you later. You just played well for us. Hit the road, Jack. So they got rid of Skinner. Skinner is now traded to Pittsburgh for Jarry. So I don't know when those guys are going to join each team, but you got to expect Pickard is probably going to be in net here for Edmonton here with Jarry probably not there yet. Edmonton, nice win that they're coming off of. They are starting a road trip, and I do talk about how teams usually are focused when they start a road trip. They're playing Toronto here. They do have Montreal tomorrow. Is that going to be a bigger game? I don't know. It's interesting that they play Pittsburgh on Tuesday in the goalie trade matchup there. Both goalies might be facing off against each other in that game. That's crazy, dude. That those teams made that trade and those goalies might be both starting in that game. Oh, man, that's going to be wild. We'll talk about that when it happens on Tuesday. But I can see positives and negatives for the spot here for the Oilers. For the Maple Leafs, they're coming off a fairly ugly loss at home against San Jose. Of course, they'd beaten Tampa the game before that. I mean, they were on this run of huge games, man. So maybe I should have given out San Jose as a play there. I think I'm maybe gave it out as a lean. I think there was some reason why I didn't do it. I mean, there must have been. But Toronto was coming off beating Florida and Carolina on the road, lost to Montreal on the return home spot in a shootout. That was a win for us on the show, I can tell you that. We had Montreal in that one. In the return home spot. Then Toronto bounced back from that with a win over Tampa Bay. So they were in pretty much a letdown spot off of all that, I think, facing San Jose. They got caught. Now Toronto, I think, might be in more of a bounce-back spot here coming off of that. So I would slightly lean to Toronto in this one. Edmonton is up from -112 to -114 on the money line, though. So the odds makers still telling you that Edmonton's pretty good and enough to be a favorite at Toronto. 71% of the tickets, 90% of the cash on Edmonton. Cash percentage looks like it's on them now. I don't really agree with that. This is the first night game, by the way, after all those afternoon games. So we will see. But I slightly would lean towards Toronto as the home dog in that one. The books are trying to lure you into an over on the Raiders-Eagles. I mean, whenever it's that low at 38.5, it's low for a reason. I would not want to be on an over in that one. I don't think the public's not going to be playing an over in a Raider game, though. Like, I just don't see that being. I don't think the total in that game is going to get much action. Like, the public's going to be betting on other things. Like, they're going to have the whole NFL slate to bet. They're not going to be betting a total in Eagles-Raiders. It's just not going to be happening. But, yeah, the Eagles' offense has been miserable recently, and we know the Raiders just suck in every way. So, but because the Raiders' defense sucks, maybe the Eagles' offense will get going a little bit in that game. But generally, yeah, I think an under kind of makes sense in that game. But, I mean, I'm probably not going to touch that game at all. Montreal at the Rangers. Of course, the Rangers at home, I always have to point out that they have sucked at home. 3-8-3 at home, and they have at least 5 shutout losses at home. They've been a little bit better at home recently. They're playing Montreal, so they're probably going to get up for it. Montreal's been pretty good. Montreal coming off a win over Pittsburgh. Montreal does have Edmonton tomorrow, so is that going to be any sort of look ahead? Maybe like a Canadian thing, but this is an original 6 matchup, though, between Montreal and the Rangers, so usually these teams will get up to play each other. Montreal, I don't know if they're going to be in a letdown spot coming off of Pittsburgh. Is that a big win? I don't know. It looks like maybe Montembeault is hurt because he hasn't been in the lineup for a while, so I haven't even paid attention, man, or he just hasn't been that good. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Montembeault, but it's been Dobes and Fowler in net for Montreal, probably Dobes this time, but he's been their primary goalie pretty much this year, so that's not really a problem for Montreal, having him in net. Montembeault hasn't really been that good after he was good last year, surprisingly, in his which I think he might have been a rookie, or he's still really young. The Rangers, 3 losses in a row, including on Wednesday. They lost 3-0 at Chicago, so I think the Rangers are in a bounce-back spot. They've had multiple days off after getting shut out. Ugly loss there. Even though the Rangers are on the road. Go figure. They got shut out on the road. Usually that only happens at home. But they were coming off monster games, remember. They took Colorado and Vegas to overtime, so they were in a bad spot. I think they've had enough time to recuperate, so maybe the first time ever, but I actually kind of lean to the Rangers, even though they're at home here. They're up from -138 to -142, 96% of the tickets on them right now. 100% of the cash obviously is not accurate. I slightly lean to the Rangers, but again, I mean, we don't see much with the market here. I don't see that much with the situation either to want to do anything with that. Eagles due to score points. I don't believe in anybody being due or any team being due for anything. I mean, law of averages is a thing, but like everything is an individual situation. I just think that the Raiders' defense is bad enough that the Eagles should be able to do something offensively in that game. The problem is they probably don't need to. So, like, if the Eagles have, like, an okay lead in the game, they might just take their foot off the gas in that game, which we've seen them do that before. Like, they had a horrible second half against Tampa Bay after they built a massive lead. Carolina at Philadelphia. Carolina coming off a huge shootout victory over Washington. Washington's been on fire, man. That was a huge win for Carolina because those two teams are looking like maybe they're the top 2 teams in the Eastern Conference. Big win. Now they're coming off of that. They're playing Philadelphia, Philadelphia's got a good record. They're not as good as their record looks, as the odds makers will show you, which is why Carolina's a pretty big favorite here. But I can't really get in on the Philadelphia side either, because even though they're staying at home, they just had an overtime loss to Vegas, so that might hang them over a little bit into this game too. So both teams coming off big performances, big games, so I have to leave the game alone. Probably, if you force me to, I would slightly lean towards grabbing Philadelphia as the home dog. Carolina's up from minus 157 to minus 167. 62% of the tickets and 85% of the cash on the Flyers. So the money seems like it does agree with that. I don't really have much of a reason to disagree. I mean, it seems like maybe there is some value in grabbing Philadelphia as the home dog, although generally I think Philadelphia is going to be overvalued because their record is better than what they are. But Carolina is obviously a very good team, so the odds makers have to adjust for that. Vegas at Columbus. Vegas coming off a win over Philadelphia. It's a decent win there over a team that does have a winning record. Vegas is finishing a road trip here, and they've already had a successful road trip. They're already 3-1 on the road trip. So in a spot like this, it is possible they kind of overlooked that final game, and they do have New Jersey up next back at home, although they did beat New Jersey 3-0 to start the road trip. But still maybe a look ahead, although I don't know, maybe less so because New Jersey's without Hughes and whatever. So I don't know. Keeping all of that in mind, I still think looking towards Columbus is the right way to look in this game, though. Columbus, they're staying at home. They did just lose. They've lost 4 games in a row, but I mean, they lost 3 on the road in overtime to Florida. Then they lost to Washington and Carolina. I mean, you couldn't have expected them to win those games, you know. I mean, those are losses to some pretty good teams. There's some really good teams in Carolina and Washington. Then they came back home from a road trip and they lost again. Road trip return, you know, I talk about how that's difficult as well. Even though it wasn't a long road trip for them, they lost again to Ottawa. So I think they're in a better spot, though. That second game back at home after you don't play well in the first game, the team tends to play a bit better. So that's what I expect out of Columbus. I like Columbus in that one. This one is closer to being a play for me, actually. If I was going to add a second play, it would be this one. Columbus money line is what I would do. Vegas down from minus 150 to minus 147. 87% of tickets and only 80% of the cash on Vegas. So, yeah, Columbus would be my second favorite hockey play of the day here. My favorite is this next game, and this is maybe something Saab missed, so hopefully he catches this one. We're taking Winnipeg on the money line, which I know looks really, really ugly right now because Winnipeg has been on a massive skid without their elite goalie, Hellebuck. I mean, they've lost now 3 more games in a row, but they lost on the road to Edmonton. They lost by 1 at home against Dallas. Those are big games, man. And then I think maybe they were just kind of a little bit hung over in their last game on Thursday. They lost to my Boston Bruins 6-3, but now they're coming off that ugly loss, which was a little bit explainable. I think they're in a bounce back spot here, man. They're staying at home, 1 day off. They got a really good Eastern Conference team coming in here. I expect Winnipeg to show up in this one, man. And for the first time, I think this season, they just fell below 500, except when they were 0-1, I guess. They hadn't been below 500, well, I guess since 2 games ago, technically, if you want to include overtime losses. But visually, it just looks worse when you're 14, 15-1. So I think that is a little bit of an extra motivator. I mean, I wouldn't base a handicap off of it, but I think it's just a little bit of extra on Winnipeg that they're going to be a little bit more motivated because they're below 500 for the first time basically all season. For Washington, I do not like the spot here. Washington, I think they're basically in a sandwich spot. They just played against Carolina, and they took them into a shootout. That was potentially even an Eastern Conference final preview or something like that. That's what at least people will be saying. Huge game, and they fell just short in a shootout 2 days ago. So now they're having to come off of that and travel. Usually I say a team's going to be focused on the first game of the road trip. But in this case, I don't really think so. Unless this is the dad trip. So somebody can let me know if it is. But because it's a 2-game road trip, so I get worried. Like, did I miss it? Is it the dad trip? I don't know. Hopefully it's not. Because that would motivate them a little bit more. But I think this is a bad spot, dude, coming off that big game. Now they get Winnipeg, who's just really been struggling. And if they're going to focus on 1 game on the road trip, it's going to be Minnesota in their next game because Minnesota's hot. But, oh, yeah, by the way, what was I just talking about with the trade situation with Quinn Hughes? Minnesota was able to get him. Guess who the team was that almost got him? There were 2 teams fighting to get Quinn Hughes. that gave him the best offers. Minnesota won. Yeah, guess who the other team was that had the second best offer, who almost landed him and fell just short? That was Washington. And now Washington has to play Minnesota with Hughes on Tuesday. That makes it a monster game, dude. So that is absolutely going to be a look ahead, because they have to play the team that beat them to getting that huge acquisition in the trade. That's going to be massive, man. So that makes this a worse spot for Washington. There's a lot going on here. A lot of things pointing towards Winnipeg. So that's what we're going to do. Winnipeg is my only hockey play today. Washington's a minus 125 road favorite. We're getting a nice home dog price here. I know Winnipeg, after being really good at home last year, they're nowhere near as good this year. I get it. I know Washington's pretty good on the road, but this is a spot play. We're doing it. 73% of the tickets on Washington, 84% of the cash on Winnipeg. So huge, like pros versus Joes dichotomy. It looks like it's shaping up in the market here. Probably it will stay similar to that as the day goes on, hopefully. But I think Winnipeg is absolutely the right side, and that is my favorite. Strong lean to the Jets from Saab. Yeah, there you go, man. You're on Flyers, Blue Jackets, Red Wings, and Flames. Whoa. I agree with the Blue Jackets. That was my second favorite, which I just talked about. Definitely like that one. Flyers, I think I tentatively did agree with that one. I don't think I talked about the other two games yet. The Raptors didn't cover, correct. Yeah, no, I would not want to 5D chess a handicap, man. Oh, Detroit-Chicago is the next game. All right, let's look at this. I looked at it earlier, and I already forget what I thought about it. Detroit, they're finishing a road trip. They've been on the road for a long time, man. They're playing a third game in 4 days, fourth game in 6 days, fifth game in 8 days, and actually a sixth game in 10 days, and a seventh game in 12 days, it looks like, all in different cities. That is a brutal run, dude. They played way too many games in quick succession here. They're already up 3-2 on the road trip. So I do not like the spot for Detroit here. Now they're going into Chicago. Detroit did just lose a win streak with a loss to Edmonton. I know they lost 4-1, but I don't know if this is going to be a bounce back spot, man. I don't know how focused they're going to be on this Chicago team. It's on a massive slide. Yes, Chicago did play yesterday. They're the only team on a back-to-back, so that is a concern. They're playing a third game in 4 days as well, where they traveled to St. Louis in the middle of the tour. That's a quick trip for Chicago to go to St. Louis. They did lose the game. They will probably have Soderblom in net here, which, yeah, I know, he hasn't been good. They've lost his last 3 games, and a couple of them were horrendous, and they gave up at least 4 goals in every game, 7+ in the other 2. So that's not great, obviously, but I kind of lean to Chicago here. Chicago did have rest before that Wednesday. I mean, Detroit is definitely going to be the more tired team coming into this, so I'm definitely leaving this game alone. But for me, slight opinion on Chicago. Detroit up from minus 180 to minus 190. 73% of tickets, 75% of the cash on them. For now, I guess they're going to be the public side because Chicago's just been bad recently, but I would look towards maybe even getting Chicago on a puck line price. In that one, I don't know. I just think Detroit's just had way too packed of a schedule, man. Florida at Dallas. Interesting one. Pretty big game. Returning champs against one of the top teams currently. Florida's coming off getting smoked by Colorado in high elevation, 6-2. Don't know if they're really bounced back from that. They do have that big game against Tampa, which is going to be kind of a quick-ish revenge spot, an in-season revenge spot coming up after this. They're not going to overlook Dallas, though, so the question is going to be more, are they tired out from this road trip? Third game in 4 days, all in different cities, coming out of elevation in a game that they tried to step up, I assume, against Colorado. Dallas coming into this off that ugly loss against Minnesota. They're returning home from a road trip, but it was only a 2-game road trip in the middle of the week, so it's not really one of those extended road trip returns where they're really going to be that distracted by having a bunch of stuff to do at home. Yeah, for me, slight lean to Dallas for me in this one. Dallas has 93% of tickets, 97% of the cash. For now, they're going to be the public side. I mean, that's just obvious. They have the way better record, but public is not always going to be wrong. Dallas up from minus 142 to minus 143. So that's the info on that one. Nashville at Colorado. Nashville did just beat Colorado in Nashville, so maybe a little bit of a revenge motive for Colorado here. Or not really revenge, but Colorado will have adjustments that they've made after that, because that was only 4 days ago that happened. And after that, Nashville smoked St. Louis off of that. We lost on that one. I didn't like the spot at all. I thought Nashville was going to be in a letdown spot there, and they killed Binnington. I mean, yeah, it was all basically Binnington just failing in net there. Like, the stats in the game were pretty close. That was a horrible performance from the goaltending from St. Louis. Just awful. Now Nashville goes out on the road, though, and they're playing Colorado and then St. Louis again. So both these teams are going to be looking to make the adjustments to try to counter Nashville here. Colorado should be able to do it, but they're coming off a big win over Florida, man. Colorado returned home from a road trip off that loss to Nashville, and Colorado had no issue with Florida beating them easily 6-2 back at home. Now it's the second game back at home. I do think they'll still show up for Nashville just because Nashville did just beat them. So I wouldn't really want to try to do anything with Nashville here. Colorado's up from minus 305 to minus 325. 96% of tickets, 99% of the cash. Colorado, they're going to win the game. I mean, it's just a matter of how much are they going to win it by. I mean, I guess if you want to play it, Colorado puck line or maybe Colorado over the team total makes sense, but I can't do anything with that. And then we have Calgary at the Kings, where, remember, I talk about how the Kings haven't been good at home this year. Calgary's coming off a loss to Detroit. It was back on Wednesday, though, 3 days ago. So they have some time to recover from that, and now they're going out on the road. So starting a road trip, I talk about that is usually a positive spot. When you start a road trip, you tend to be focused to get it off on the right foot. LA is the better team out of the two, LA and San Jose, that they're facing on the road trip here. But it was a tough game, losing by 1 to Detroit. So, I don't know. I can see both arguments for Calgary, although I guess I lean more towards it being a positive. LA is returning home from a road trip, but they were only on the road for 2 games, Monday and Wednesday. So they're back at home. Yeah, maybe they'll use that time to get settled in back at home, though. And they do play Dallas, Florida, and Tampa in their next 3 games. So those are all much bigger games than this. So I'll probably agree with Saab on this one that Calgary is the way to look in this game. LA is coming off a loss to Seattle to finish the road trip. Again, I don't think it's really that bad of a road trip return spot when you're only gone for a couple of games. But still, they might be looking ahead to Dallas here. Yeah, I agree with Calgary. The money seems to agree as well. LA down from minus 185 to minus 174. 57% of the tickets on them. 77% of the cash on the Calgary side. You're getting them as a decent-sized dog. I mean, you could do like a puck line thing or split puck line bet or something if you really want to do that. Let's go to the NBA. All right, we'll be able to get out of here, and I'll still be able to get my bowl stuff in. All right, NBA. This is we're in Las Vegas now, man. This is the NBA Cup semifinals now, and it's in Vegas, so that makes it more of an event now, man. So once it gets to the semifinals, I kind of change what I think happens with these NBA Cup games, where normally I'm saying that, like, when the teams are still playing in their home arenas and stuff, I think it matters more to the teams that are not going to really be contenders to win the championship this year. They're going to try to win something by winning the cup. But once they get to the semifinals, I think every team's going to show up. Like, you're in Vegas now. It's the event. This is the Final Four. You know what I mean? You only have 1 or 2 games left here. You're gonna show up, okay? Like, that's the thing. So I don't think any of these teams is going to not show up here. Now, first game at 5:30 p.m., we have Knicks and Magic. Knicks are up from 4.5 to 5.5 here. 57% of tickets, 66% of the cash on them. So the Knicks look like they're taking the money here. I slightly disagree. I think Orlando might want this thing a little bit more, man, because the Knicks, they do legitimately like have the so I'm going to go back on what I just said slightly, whereas the Knicks do have like the actual championship in their sights this year, whereas Orlando may not as much. But the Knicks did just beat Orlando at home, so this is kind of a zigzaggy type of spot where maybe Orlando will be the team to make the adjustments here. And the Knicks did just go up to Toronto and beat them on the road. That was a nice win against a pretty hot still Toronto team. Nice win for the Knicks, and now they're having to go from Toronto all the way to Vegas here. A little bit more of a difficult spot, I think, for the Knicks than it is for Orlando. Orlando is coming up beating the Heat, so that was a good win as well after they lost to the Knicks. So they are coming in from Florida here as well. And both teams coming off nice wins, that's for sure, against conference opponents. So, yeah, both teams somewhat in a similar spot, I guess. So, I don't know. I mean, my gut is kind of leaning slightly towards taking the points with Orlando in this one, but I can see arguments for both sides. This is obviously a game I'm not touching. But the money is coming in on the Knicks, so interestingly, the money is coming in on both favorites. And I guess that's good for me because in the other game, even though obviously they're going to be the favorite to win the championship again, and that is their goal, we're going to go with the Thunder in this game, man. We're going to lay the 10.5. They're up from 10 to 11 against the Spurs. 71% of tickets, 83% of the cash on the Thunder. I know the Spurs might want this thing a little bit more because they're probably not going to be a title contender this year. The Thunder obviously are. But, again, we get to the semifinals. The Thunder are the significantly better team. I think they're going to get this thing done, and there's one other part of this situation that puts me over the top with the Thunder here. San Antonio, well, two things. San Antonio just won in LA, man. I mean, that was a huge win over the Lakers after the Lakers had beaten them the prior time. And this was in the quarterfinals in the NBA Cup, but that's still a huge win for the Spurs, dude. They beat a complete Laker team with LeBron and Luka both in the lineup there, and they both had good games, and San Antonio still beat them. So, huge win for San Antonio there, man. So, in a way, I don't know exactly what they're going to have left in the tank after that. Oklahoma City, I mean, this is a team that they're ridiculously deep, and they're going to be rested here, and they have a full roster coming into this one. We're looking at the injury report. They don't really have anybody significant on the injury report here. SGA did already come back, so that's also good. So this is not the reverse injured player spot for SGA because he already played in their most recent game where they blew out the Suns in the semifinals here. But all their guys that have been hurt were back. Jalen Williams came back. Dort came back. SGA is back. So Caruso. So all these guys played in that game, so that's awesome. They have two Jalen Williams, by the way. The starting Jalen Williams, the one with the A and E, or the one with the with no Y and an E, I should say. He's the one that was hurt, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, no, so you have an OKC team that's a complete team now at the right time. We don't have to worry about a reverse injured player spot because these guys are all back. They're a team that's definitely rested, man, because, again, OKC, they have such a deep roster that they have these guys in and out of the lineup all the time, and they're just used to it. And now they're going to go full throttle here. I think they're going to be in full force here, man. I know it's not at home where they're completely dominant, but they're still a really dominant team. They're going up against San Antonio, and the other reason that I like the fade of San Antonio here, guess who's back? You want to talk about the reverse injured player spot? Wemby is back in this game for San Antonio, man. He wasn't supposed to be back until the 17th, but they're in the semifinals of the Cup. He's coming back. I don't know if they're rushing him. I mean, he has a pretty bad calf injury. That's what he had. But he's coming back, and he hasn't played for a month. So, I talk about this. When you're a star player, and he is absolutely the star player for the Spurs, when that guy comes back and he's been off for an extended period of time, like a month, the line's going to kind of overreact to it. And I know that seems crazy given the fact that the Thunder are a huge favorite, but the line has to be factoring in Wemba. Like, I think you'd probably see OKC being about a 14-point favorite if he wasn't playing. So do with that information what you want to, I guess. But I think you are getting a little bit of line value on the Thunder for that reason. And Wemba's got to work his way back into the lineup, man. So a guy that's this young and he's been out for that long, he's going to have to get back into the groove, right? And he really hasn't played that much because he missed a lot of last season, too, with a heart thing. So, or like a blood clot, whatever it was. So, yeah, he's going to have to come back, and I don't think he's going to be, like, just off to the races right away, and the team has to get used to him being back. Guys have to fit their new roles again, whatever. So I don't like that. It's a major reverse injured player spot here, so I like Oklahoma City a lot more with the continuity here, man. And I don't like that San Antonio's coming off a big-time win against the Lakers to even get here. So it might run out for them here, man. We're going to lay the points with the Thunder in that one, and hopefully we get it done as I think I've only laid the points of the Thunder one other time this season as a home favorite, and they did get the job done. So hopefully we can get it done again in that one. And that's it for my plays today. College football, we do have 3 games. The first game up is the Cricket Celebration Bowl, Cricket Wireless, I assume. They do cell phones, I believe. This is in Atlanta, Georgia, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. This is somewhat kind of an unofficial bowl because these are not FBS teams. And for some reason, it's always a MEAC and a SWAC team. So I think the team that wins the MEAC against the team that wins the SWAC, I think, is who plays in this game. For whatever reason, those 2 conferences get to play in this game. They get a showcase, which is good. I mean, for these small teams, they don't usually get a huge televised game like this, but that is what they get here. This game, of course, we don't see it here because this is on... Wait, we're on FBS. Why is this game not showing up here? Oh, it's because it's bowls only here. I hate ESPN, dude. Like, show me all the games, bro. Like, what are you doing? Let me see. Will it even let me do it? Oh, it's because, this game's not FBS, but it's not even showing me the other FBS game either. The Army-Navy game isn't even on here. Like, what are we doing here, man? It's not showing me the, God, I hate ESPN so much. Anyway, but yeah, this game, it's interesting. So it's South Carolina State and Prairie View A&M. Now, as you can see, the line is definitely indicating on Prairie View A&M here as they flip from a 2-point dog to a 2.5-point favorite. So if you do like them, you've lost some value, although it's still kind of a pick-the-winner situation. 71% of tickets, 76% of the cash on them. Now, I don't know much about these teams, although South Carolina State is in this bowl pretty often. And last year, I believe they did lose it pretty ugly to Jackson State. Jackson State, formerly where Dion was coach, I believe. So South Carolina State, I believe they've actually lost the last couple of these bowls to Jackson State. So they're more used to being in this bowl, and maybe because they haven't won it those last couple of years, they might be motivated to show up here. I think both teams will be motivated, but I think Prairie View A&M might be a little bit more excited because I do not remember them being in this bowl before, so maybe they haven't even been in it at all. But if they have been, it's been a while for Prairie View. So I think it's a bigger deal for their program to be in this thing. So I kind of agree with the market read in that one. I slightly lean to Prairie View A&M in that one. All right, then in the afternoon, we do have the Army-Navy game. Huge game for those 2 teams. I mean, it's a big rivalry, obviously. It's the Commander-in-Chief trophy. Whoever wins this game gets the Commander-in-Chief trophy because it's a round-robin thing that also includes Air Force. And both of these teams beat Air Force. They both beat them by 3. Now, they both beat them in a high-scoring game, so that might mislead people. But the issue with that is that Air Force is way worse than both of these teams, and Air Force doesn't play good defense. And I know Air Force did step up their game and play well against both of these teams, but I like the under in this game more than the side. I mean, I know that's stereotypical because Army-Navy, it's like the professionals used to just blindly play the under here. So the books have had to adjust because usually, like up until not that long ago, the books were putting out like totals like in the low 40s in these games, and now they know better and they put it really low at 38.5. But because last year's game went over, so last year Navy won like 31-10 or something along those lines last year, and I think it just slightly went over last year. But in the last 19 games, this game is 17-2 to the under, and I know the line keeps dropping and dropping as far as what the odds makers put out there, but it's a strong trend towards the under, man. It's 17-2 to the under, and the only times it did not go under were last year when Navy kind of ran away with the game, and the other game was a game where it went into overtime, and it did not go over in regulation. So this game has been a very strong under, and the reason for that is both teams constantly run the football, especially Army. I mean, they both run the triple option, so they both focus on possession. They both run the football. Army can't throw the football at all. So you're going to get a lot of rushing, quite obviously here. And the other reason why the unders hit at such a ridiculous rate in these games is both of these teams know how to defend the option because they both run the option. So that's what they see in practice every day. They know how to defend it because that's what they're defending against in practice, you know what I mean? So they know exactly what it looks like. So these teams are very familiar with that style of offense. They look at it all the time. So it makes it easier to defend for these teams, even if their defenses maybe are not that good generally. They know how to defend this attack. So that's why the unders happen all the time. This totals at 38.5. I know it's low, but it's low for a reason. 52% of tickets, 69% of the cash on the under. If I was going to play it, I would be looking at the under here. As far as the side, Navy has gone up from a 5 to a 6.5 point favorite. They're almost a touchdown here. 71% of tickets, 76% of the cash on Navy. So the money seems to agree with the Navy side. In a game that's this low of a total, I probably can't get there with laying points. Although I don't necessarily disagree with that move with the Navy side. Navy is the better team. And part of it is because Navy can still throw the ball a little bit on offense, and Army cannot. So Army is more one-dimensional. Navy definitely has the better offense because Navy does have more wrinkles. They kind of do the wing T offense thing where they do throw the ball sometimes. But Army does have the better defense, so Army does fall into the better defense getting points category here. That is the case with Army. So there is that. So again, this is not a game I want to play at all, but just throwing it out there. I think, again, I would play the under if I was going to play it. Slight lean for me towards laying it with Navy as well, but we might be misled a little bit by last year because last year was really the only game where either of these teams was able to win by margin was last year. Navy, I think, won and covered as a favorite, but prior to that game, I think the underdog covered in this game 5 straight times prior to that, so there is a pretty strong trend towards the underdog covering, and that's because it's a low total, right? Like the games always are low scoring, so that makes sense that the underdog is more likely to cover in a game like that. So a lot of information for that one, I know. And then we do have the first real bowl, if you want to call it that, at 8 p.m. tonight in SoFi Stadium, which is the Chargers Stadium. And I forget if it's the Rams Stadium as well. It's in Inglewood, California. It is Boise State in Washington. Now, when I did my bowl preview, I leaned towards Washington. They were 8.5 at that time. Now they're -10, so it has hit that key number of 10. I don't know if the public is going to be coming in kind of knocking that number down, or if maybe once it gets to that key number of 10, maybe there is some, it looks like there is actually some take back from like professional money on the Boise side because it did get, I think, through the 10, and now we've seen the percentages flip because I can tell you that when the line came out at the lower number, the cash percentage was definitely on Washington, but now since it's hit 10, the money is coming in the other direction. 57% of tickets and 51% of the cash on Washington. So do with all that information what you will, but I actually lean to Washington in the game overall. Even at 10, I would probably still lean towards laying it. I wouldn't really want to lay 10.5, but if I was going to play it, I would lay it in this one. And again, first of all, Washington is the better team. They've faced a much more difficult schedule. They're in the Big Ten. I mean, they played Ohio State somewhat competitively. They've played better teams. Just that's the way that it is. They finished the season playing Oregon, another team. It's a top team. So Washington is absolutely battle-tested. And Washington took a loss in that game. So a lot of times I like to look at a team that lost in their final regular season game. Like a team that went on a losing streak to finish the season, I kind of like looking at them in a bowl game because they have extra time off and they can kind of get back to it. But the problem is I actually think that a team on a winning streak is kind of good to look at in a bowl as well, though, because a team on a winning streak, that's only if they did it to get to 6 wins, though. Like if a team reeled off 3 straight wins at the end of the season just to get to 6 wins, that shows you that they're motivated to get into a bowl. So I like to look at those teams. But if a team like Washington finished on a loss like they did against Oregon, I kind of think they tend to bounce back a little bit in the bowl. Washington didn't really have higher aspirations, so I think they'll get up for this game. They get the first bowl of the season. They get to play in California. You know, they have to avoid the distractions that come with being in LA, but so does Boise. And the problem with Boise is, first of all, they're not battle-tested, really. And when they've stepped up in class, it has not gone well. The best team they played was Notre Dame, who should be in the playoffs, but Boise got smoked by Notre Dame, man. So that is not a good sign. Boise did not step up well in class. They had that embarrassing performance against South Florida to start the season, although that was a major, that was a game where they had a huge amount of turnovers, whatever. It was a bad game, though, nonetheless. So Boise, definitely not the better team here. yeah, they just won the Mountain West, but I think that kind of makes it worse because it's like you win your conference, and Boise was a team that everybody was talking about at the beginning of the season. Oh, if Boise runs the table in the Mountain West, they might be a playoff team, and people were even saying maybe they'll even be a playoff team somewhat late in the season because if they win the Mountain West, who knows? Because the committee has to pick amongst those conference winners, you know what I mean? So I just don't know if Boise wants to be here, man. They thought they were going to get into the playoff this year. They were in the playoff last year, so it's a disappointing season for Boise, and you really don't want to be on teams that fell way short of their goals like they did, even though, yes, they won the Mountain West, but their reward is they get to play in the bucked-up LA Bowl. I don't know, man, but maybe the thing that gives me a little bit of pause with Washington, though, is that maybe Boise will actually get up for it because they get to play a Big Ten team, you know what I mean? So Boise gets a chance to at least play a bigger team, right? So Boise gets to play the role of underdog here and play against a better team. That's the only hesitation I really have with Washington here. So I'm not going to get there with a play on this one. I would lean towards Washington, but yeah, I have some reservations about it. And by the way, the bucked up LA Bowl, as you guys pointed out, you said it was an energy drink. I think it's actually an energy supplement. And I had mentioned how the LA Bowl used to be the Kimmel Bowl, the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl. Screw him. But I forgot that they got rid of him years ago and they switched it to the Gronk Bowl. It's been the Gronk LA Bowl with Rob Gronkowski for a while, and it's still him. But I think Gronk bucked up is like his product. So this is still the Gronk Bowl. It's just the bucked up bowl because bucked up is his energy supplement that he's hawking or whatever. So Gronk is still going to be there, man. He's the guy in this one. And at least that's hilarious because Gronk is just a hilarious idiot, basically. So I kind of like Gronk. I mean, I don't know. I just think he's funny. I don't know. He's just a bro. So whatever. But yes, this is still a Gronk Bowl. It just changed. They changed their name to the sponsor, to Gronk's company, Bucked Up. So that's what's going on in that game. That's the sponsor in that game. And that's going to do it, man. Oh, if we want to do final market reads on my college basketball before I get out of here, we could try to look at this real quick. It looks good on Penn State. 69% of tickets, only 56% of the cash on Michigan State. So looks like the market is agreeing with me on Penn State. I forget what my other games even were here. I have them here, though. George Washington, market is still not really fully fleshed out here. So it looks like Florida will definitely be a public side at the very least, though. For Southern Miss, again, we don't really see the market shaping up in that one yet. Mercer doesn't look as good. It looks like the money is coming on Clemson, but you get a better number on Mercer if you like it. So money disagreeing with me on that. I'm kind of surprised. I think the spot's awful for Clemson. For Illinois, money looks like it's definitely agreeing with us on Illinois, or with me at least on Illinois. So that's one. I talked about that one last night. I said you probably have to take that one right away. Couple of the other ones I said I thought you could wait, but for Illinois, I thought you need to get on that one right away because I thought it was going to move in that direction. And then the West Virginia one, we don't really see much of a market read yet on that one anyway, but those are my plays for today. I don't think I missed any, right? That's going to do it, man. Oh, and by the way, yesterday we went 1-0-1 on the show as Missouri State pushed, which I'm kind of angry about, and then Texas hung within the number and only lost by about 8 or 7 or whatever to UConn. So Texas played a pretty close game there. Decent performance from Texas. So we got the win on that one. And hopefully you guys got a decent number on Missouri State. I know Charles somehow got a winning number at 18.5 on that and landed 18. I know if it landed 17.5, it's kind of a tough loss to take there. But 1-0-1 on the show yesterday in those two. And again for today, the plays are Penn State. This is all college basketball. Penn State plus the points. GW, George Washington plus the points. Southern Miss plus the points. Mercer plus the points. Illinois minus the points. West Virginia plus the points. NHL, we're on Winnipeg money line. NBA Cup, we're on OKC minus the points. And OKC was good to me in the finals last year, so let's get it going again, man. I had them... when they were losing in the finals, I took them on the money line to win the series. I played them in 2 individual games as well that they won and covered. In game 2, I think a bounce back spot, and one of the later games, I think I had them as well. So one of the ones that they won. So OKC did well for me in in that series, so hopefully they do well for me again here. That's going to do it. If you want the analysis on college basketball, you can check out the show from last night, although it's really long, but you can check out my Instagram just to see those analyses. Carl, what's up, man? It's not on Rumble right now. Should I get on Rumble? Thanks for hanging out, man. I've been thinking about putting this on Rumble. I'm not currently on Rumble, though. It's called Toadstool Sports, but I'm only on YouTube, and I'm on audio on Apple and Spotify right now. But yes, I should think about Rumble for sure. Thank you, Carl. Jeffrey, am I going out? I'm going to be at my parents' house. Just there's not a whole lot going on. It's just going to be chill. Going to do some breakfast, some brunch. Thank you, sir, Mr. Pinsey. Missouri State. Wow, am I the only one that pushed on that one? Like, what's going on here? You got the 18.5. Wow, I was looking all day to see if I could see it. I wasn't really thinking that it was going to get better than it was either, though, so I don't know. But you guys, good for you guys. You got to win on that. I got to push on it myself, so that's what I scored it at on the show. That's going to do it, man. I'll be back. Tonight will be the NFL show, of course. And again, I have pretty strong opinions on nearly every game this time. And all the teams are back in action. There's no bye weeks anymore, except for me in fantasy. I'm on bye, baby, as the number 1 seed in my league. But I got to at least win next week to get into the money. So we got to do it, man. We'll see what happens, but I'll be back for the NFL show. I'm going to have at least probably 3 plays. And I'll talk about the other ones that I'm probably going to add into my pick 5 as well. Got to make the decisions, man. But that's going to do it for now. I'll be back then. Peace. Oh, and I forgot my plugs, right? Learn to Toad on Instagram. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Like, subscribe. Give me comments on the channel here. We're on audio, Apple, Spotify. Give me good reviews over there. Listen over there. Covered in Uke is my Uke channel, so you can check that out as well on YouTube. Patreon.com/LearnToToad, and you get a bonus Uke Spotify feed, and you get Uke requests that I don't really do in a timely fashion unless I already know the song. I have subscriptions on Twitter now, so if you want to support me that way, you can. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do for subscription content yet. I'm going to have a group chat for the subscribers on Twitter, although my first subscriber, he's on some old version of X, so I can't add him to a group chat. So X is failing right now as far as their transition to the new chat system. Really bad. So I apologize for that. I apologize to him directly already because I can still DM him. I just can't add him to a group chat. It's ridiculous. And he's not one of those guys that blocks group chats either, so I don't know. And then check out my other podcast, the Loser Cast, the comedy panel of losers. That's every Tuesday night. Should be episode 2 should be up on Loser Cast. The first one was up on Leighton's Outlawed Thoughts. It's on YouTube, but we're crass enough that we probably need to be taking it down from YouTube so we don't get banned. But we'll see how that goes. That's kind of up to Leighton right now. He's in charge of that one. And then potentially tomorrow, the G Spot, which is going to be the New York Giants podcast with me and Ben Weir. So we'll see if we actually start that one tomorrow. It'll be live streaming, watching the Giants-Redskins game. So we'll see. That's going to do it for now. Peace out, guys.